Sean McVay has said in a staff meeting he does not know what he will be doing next year, and has also told all of his coaches they can go seek employment elsewhere. You can go do interviews, whatever you want to do, because it is being reported that his future is in limbo with the Los Angeles Rams. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN was reporting that. Peter Schrager has a podcast. He's very tight with McVay. I think he said that there's no guarantees on next year for anything. I think he was referring to like media as opposed to Ram. I don't know what the future holds here for McVay. Last year it was talked about because obviously McVay had won a Super Bowl. He is the second coming, everybody believes, in football of John Gruden. And John Gruden, obviously not the best emailer 10, 15 years ago to a toxic organization. How about Snyder? How about Snyder just saying, everybody's killing us. Go through those 70,000 emails. Find me a couple that aren't good. You should see what we got on Gruden. Fuck it.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Get it out of here. Pretty much happened. Gruden ends up getting fired. He's in the middle of a lawsuit with the NFL. But when he was in the Monday Night Football booth, he was a game changer for television.
Yeah.
He was built for television. High energy, great resume, obviously football acumen through the roof. Had a full buy-in, too, from the entire production room and from everybody that's on air. This is John Gruden's show. We're going to do everything. He was Madden there for a while.
Yeah.
They were building Monday Night Football around him. So a lot of TV execs and TV networks thought this McVay guy, he has a lot of the same qualities. Just like Madden, he coached when he was young, had success. Maybe he's burnt out, right? That's what happened with Madden. Madden goes to the TV booth, changes the whole game. Drives his bus everywhere, gets a video game, becomes the voice of the NFL, teaches football in what is that, USC? California?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think he was USC coach. He became the face of football for a while. Gruden, when he was at Monday Night Football, it was the fucking John Gruden league, basically, because of the spotlight and how great he was at his gig. Then he got Amazon trying to build an NFL network pretty much from scratch because they're getting all the Thursday night games exclusively, trying to forge a new road in this whole brand new streaming NFL life that we are currently about to live for the next 100 years, hopefully, if we're all around that long. In the league is around that long. Sean McVay was allegedly offered $20 million by Amazon last year to call 15 Thursday night football games.
Damn.
Now that we're through those Thursday night football games, we saw what those games were.
Yeah.
We saw how a lot of those things went. Will Sean McVay make that game more must-see? That is what networks are going to have to chat about. And then you start bouncing around to where you potentially get hired. Is TV the option for him right now? NBC's got, Collinsworth Tirico in their first year on Sunday Night Football.
Yep.
CBS got Tony Romo and Jim Nantz. They're paying Tony Romo $17 million, I think.
Yep.
Jim Nantz is making over 10 because of the Tony Romo deal. Then you go to Fox. You got fucking Greg Olson sitting in place for Tom Brady, who might be coming.
Yep.
And who's the
Burkhardt.
He's going to be with Tom, who's with Olsen right now?
I believe so.
Olsen's calling the Super Bowl. Olsen's pretty good.
Yeah, he's not bad at all.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan
Yeah.
of Olsen. You go to ESPN, and I guess I would also count ABC, because if ABC is going to get the Super Bowl, you got Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, who've been together for 30 years. Amazon's got a Black Friday game coming up, I guess. You can talk about that. CBS has other crews. Obviously, Fox has other crews. But I don't know where that potential gig would be that was there last year when it was maybe $20 million. Not saying that he's going to regret turning down the $20 million. Allegedly, this is all being reported. Who knows? We're in the middle of conversations with Amazon at the same exact time. So that was a great piece of information to leak. Whoever leaked it, we do appreciate the hell out of that.
Thank you.
But I don't know if this is the right year. It's almost like some years you need a quarterback. And just so happens the draft class doesn't, hey, this just isn't a good year. It's almost like if he was to go to TV, I don't know where he would go right now.
That's a good question, but I feel like he would be
great
on TV. Obviously, he was, the golden child in the NFL, couple Super Bowl appearances, got all those other guys hired that kind of, I guess, came from his tree or ran a similar offense. I would love to see him on TV, but
Me too.
I wouldn't see him there for long. Honestly, I would see him maybe 2 years, and then right back into coaching.
So they thought that was going to happen with Madden. Madden stuck with it. Gruden stuck with it for 10 years or whatever. Yeah. He was in there a long time, but he inevitably had to get back into it. Go ahead, Tone.
I'm thinking, is this just a really good way to get rid of your entire coaching staff that you don't feel like is cutting it because they've all been picked and gone to other teams without having to be the bad guy and firing and be like, hey, you guys go ahead, man. I don't know what I'm going to do next year. But I want to know if Raheem Morris stays or not because I know Raheem Morris is a great DC. So maybe he's like, hey, Raheem, we're coming
super
back.
babyface out of firing people.
Yeah.
If this is what it is, and you would call upon your media friends to be like, "Hey, I don't know what I'm going to do." So
Let everyone know.
let them know that. That'd be a great play by Sean
Yeah,
McVay.
genius.
That'd be. Hey, you guys get. Hey, if you guys get a job, go ahead and get
ahead,
on.
man.
Oh, jeez, that's. And honestly, I don't know what my future looks like. 20 million last offseason. I mean,
Yeah.
Team's gotten worse, probably more. Go do your thing. Raheem, he's getting interviewed by the Colts, I believe, today or tomorrow.
Okay, so maybe.
A few places.
There's some interviews happening today for the Indianapolis Colts. I assume for other places happening today. There's a lot going on. We could maybe get that answer soon. Would have never thought of that. That's why I'm happy you're here.
Yeah.
What do you got, Connor?
It'd be exactly like the Bucks. He could be like, "Hey, I wouldn't feel comfortable in a few years, giving this team over that doesn't have all these vets. They'll still have Stafford and Donald and Cooper Kupp. So maybe if Raheem Morris doesn't get any of those jobs, McVay might just pass the baton. Hey, I'm comfortable giving this team away because I know
Bruce
they'll still be
Arians
good."
was coach for 50 years when he handed the baton over.
Yeah.
What's Sean McVay doing? He's handing the baton over and then just chilling?
To Raheem, no. And then he's joining TV. I assume, and maybe this is not the exact right way to think, but if Collinsworth, hasn't signed an extension, maybe pair him with Tirico. It was their first year. It's not as if they're tied to the hip. But
Is Collinsworth up?
Collinsworth ain't going anywhere.
I don't know what his contract is.
Oh, so you.
Well, there was one video that popped up with NBC with Collinsworth that I figured maybe there was some backlash towards.
So
but-
Collinsworth, the whole thought about Collinsworth, I think they kept him around in the booth for like continuity purposes because they're
Right.
losing
Yes.
on Michaels, and I think Collinsworth is good
Yeah.
personally. I don't think he's.
Me too. That's not a shot.
I don't think he's the one that we need to push out of any of these spots. But at the time being, maybe he's just gonna relax and enjoy life a little bit too.
Yeah,
you know,
just
like
got
Sean
married.
Payton, he retired. Everybody's assuming he wants to get back into football as soon as possible. He did that kickoff show for Fox. He said he enjoyed it, had a blast doing it. Maybe Sean McVay's just looking for a restart. I have no idea.
Pat, could McVay fill a similar role that Peyton did for Fox with Amazon's coverage with the panel that's all the players and Carissa Thompson? They don't have like a head coach on there. Maybe he could fill that role for them.
Oh, you said Sean Payton because we were just talking about Sean
Yes.
Payton. I thought you were talking about Peyton Manning.
No, sorry, Sean
I
Payton.
immediately thought like,
Yeah,
oh,
like some sort of.
maybe
McVay
Sean
cast.
McVay. McVay cast.
But
His-
to your point, like the thing about the not needing a quarterback, like that's a perfect analogy because no network is going to pay him a premium price and then have him be like the third game. Like if he's getting $20 million from somewhere, like that.
And
then-
maybe it's not even the money though.
Yeah, no.
Maybe he just wants a reset.
for sure. But just from
But
the-
why would you at that age with a head coaching job? There's only 32 of them. You're in LA.
Man, he seems like, just from the outside looking in, he seems like he is just obsessed with the shit, like all in. So a break would be good for him. And then, I mean, the Stafford already let him know, like, hey,
Maybe he did learn about Stafford. And Stafford was on game day, and I asked Stafford, actually, you look healthy. You look real healthy over there. He has to know that every human in the football world is talking about, like, no offense, Staff. We understand how good you are and how great the game has been to you and how long you've been kind of submerged by football and your whole life is football. And Steve Young talked to Tom Brady about it on the Let's Go podcast, and Steve Young talked about it on Monday Night Football whenever they were calling a Buccaneers game about how hard retirement is. And you're a sack of bones at the bottom of a cliff is what Steve Young said after you retire. Just beat up, banged up, and you know that life will never be the way it was when you're an NFL quarterback, when you're giving your entire life to something and they're also giving you everything you need to be successful. So whenever you're a quarterback and you retire, especially whenever you've been that successful for that long, it's like, I guess, devastating. Like the way Steve, I would never know, obviously, because I was not. I mean, I was a pretty good quarterback on Thanksgiving, but you get what I'm saying. Steve Young said it was terrible. Tom Brady talked about how it's not fun at all. Aaron's going through that right now. They were talking about it for Aaron Rodgers that's been having this conversation for, if you listen to Aaron, like the last 2-3 years he's been having this conversation. It's not easy at all, especially whenever you've been fluffed literally and figuratively up above everybody for your entire life as a quarterback, and you're great. So think about how much they've been kind of lifted, the life they've got to live to stare it down. Matthew Stafford's going through that same shit. You know what I mean? Matthew Stafford's going to have to go through that same shit. Just a Texas boy, love football, finally has the notoriety, I think, from the entire world after going to L.A., win a Super Bowl, has the Hall of Fame resume signed, sealed, delivered, has made $50 million since 2009. Like, he's been making so much money earned all this money, obviously. the injuries, his family. Obviously, his wife has a podcast in which she talks about what it's like to be the wife and a spouse of a man who goes out there and gets his ass beat. So it's obviously a conversation that has been chatted about. So I think he knows that we're all wondering what the hell he's going to do. Maybe this is. McVay has a little bit of an inside clue that he's no longer going to have Matthew Stafford, and he's going to have to figure out the rebuild almost going forward and doesn't want to be a part of it. Maybe it is a reset. Just like kind of what Peyton did in New Orleans. He was like, I don't have my quarterback anymore. Yeah. They have a full reset. I don't want to be. That's not what I want to be a part of. Maybe that's what McVay is. But also, I don't think we know what Stafford's going to do. He was supposed to come on the MegaCast on the field with us.
Sure.
He was pitched, not supposed to come on. We did not expect him to come on whenever the game started. He was pitched. Would you want him? We said yes. He ended up not coming on. All we talked about whenever we thought he was going to come on was how we were going to ask him how the fuck if he's playing or not.
Yeah. Over and over.
Game was up. The game was already 30-point. So we're trying to figure out, hey, listen, let's be selfish here, okay? This is a simulcast of this college football national championship, but tomorrow we're going to be talking about
What's Stafford said?
what's Stafford doing. Yeah. So let's try to get a lean. And, let's try to read some body language. And when he gives an answer, let's not be scared to give a little, because we love Matthew Stafford. Big fans of Matthew Stafford, the way he goes about everything. Never been on the show, but big fans of what he's accomplished and everything. That is a massive piece.
Huge.
D, but what you just brought up. Maybe he is. Is Matthew Stafford retiring? Is that why Sean McVay's willing to leave? Or is he waiting to hear what Matthew Stafford's doing so he doesn't want to hold everybody back and say, hey, you could go do what you got to do because we don't know what we're doing yet because we are waiting on Matthew Stafford to tell us what the hell we're doing. But allegedly he's been talking about coming back this whole time.
Yeah, and if you're McVay and maybe Stafford is coming back, maybe he's not, you really don't have any of those picks because they went all in and won the Super Bowl and it worked. And there has to be that other thought process too where he's just getting married. Maybe he wants to, start a family, and whether he wants to coach or work in TV, just taking that year off, I feel like just such a clean reset. Be with your wife, be with possibly, a baby if you're having one, and then kind of going from there.